It is now almost getting over tomorrow.
Okay.
10 days festival, yeah.
But Dr. Mai, I spent a year and a half in Thailand. Interestingly, the Thai people actually, they are big devotees of, they call it as Kanet.
Ganesh, yeah.
And big believers of Ganesh there.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow.
I think we can start.
10 days festival.
Somaji is also.
But Dr. Mai, I spent a year and a half in Thailand. Interestingly, the Thai people actually.
I think, Ananda, you can start now. I think it's right on the dot.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
A warm welcome to you on behalf of FICCI and East West Seed India. I am Ananda UVL. I'm Head of Corporate Communications and Public Affairs at East West Seed India. May I request Mr. Dilip Rajan, our Managing Director for East West Seed India, to present his opening remarks.
Thank you, Ananda. And hello, everybody, and welcome to the second of 6 webinars that East West Seed, along with FICCI, have curated to focus on the benefits of vegetable farming and smallholder farmers in India. Today's topic is extremely relevant in the context of this ongoing pandemic. As many of you will agree, technology will disrupt agri-value chains, will drive higher productivity, and create new channels to market. This pandemic, among all, has shown us the immense value of digital tools, and agriculture can no longer afford to be left behind. Systematic application of digital tools and technology will not only support production, sustainable production and supply, especially when food production and supply involves millions and millions of smallholder farmers like our country. Today's panel of speakers and experts, along with Dr. C.D. Mai as the moderator, will debate the role of Agritech in vegetable farming in order to improve productivity and stability to meet the demand. So with these few words, I'd like to invite Ram for his keynote address and sincerely hope you all enjoy today's session. Over to you, Ram.
Thank you, Dilip. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's a pleasure for me to invite all of you to this webinar on behalf of FICCI. Just a few words from my side that, as Dilip has said, digital tools have become extremely important, which we have seen the benefits of that in the lockdown period. But vegetables in particular are highly, they can derive 2 major benefits from digital tools. One is that it's a very labor-intensive cultivation, vegetables, and also it is a perishable commodity. So we have seen that there are digital tools which can help you to actually overcome some of the value chain difficulties in terms of reaching the product to the market. Need for mechanization is very high in the vegetables. So far, the mechanization has not been very high. I think that need is there. Digitization follows mechanization. So I think mechanization has to also happen. There must be sufficient innovation in that space. We also have to make sure that there's a quick connect between the farm and the fork with the minimum number of links in the value chain. So I think that will actually make sure that the farmers share out of the consumer's rupee, every rupee that the consumer pays goes up, and it must go beyond 50-60 paise for him to actually have a profitable farming. So this is one of the targets with which we are working. Just to give an idea that there are 600 active agtech startups in the ecosystem today in the country. In fact, ThinkAg has just released a report on this last week, and I'm giving some numbers from that report. 14 million farmers are using the agtech startups and enterprises. They're taking the help of these enterprises. $1.7 billion was pumped into agtech space in the last 5 years by the investors. So I think it's a huge investment which has gone in. This investment is going up by about 48% every year. So the CAGR is about 48% for this. So I think it's a very hot area right now. And I'm sure we will discuss more about some of the factors and some of the enablers which will actually make this more relevant and more useful for the farmers. I look forward to the discussion today. And this is a very futuristic and very relevant topic and very hot topic, as I said. I am really looking forward to listening to all the experts today. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming and thanks for speaking today.
Thank you, Mr. Rajan, and thank you, Mr. Ram Kornina. He is the Director General, FSII, and he was Head of Agritech of FICCI. Thank you for your address. Now, we are very fortunate to have very distinguished speakers with us today, and I deem it my honor to introduce the speakers very briefly. Dr. C.D. Mai, as you all know, is a renowned agricultural scientist and is currently serving as the President of South Asia Biotechnology Center, New Delhi. He was former Chairman, Agricultural Scientist Recruitment Board and Government of India, and former Agricultural Commissioner, Government of India. Born in farming family of Maharashtra, Dr. C.D. Mai obtained his agricultural degrees from Maharashtra and PhD from IARI in plant pathology. He commenced his career in plant pathology research at IARI and worked in various capacities at Central Rice Research Institute, Cuttack, Punjab Agricultural University, Ludhiana, the Ford Foundation, Delhi, and Maharashtra Agricultural University, Parbhani, for nearly 30 years. The research and teaching and extension experience led him to work as Vice Chancellor MAU Parbhani and Director Central Institute of Cotton Research, ICAR, CICR, Nagpur, and Agriculture, New Delhi, before retiring as the Chairman of Agricultural Scientist Recruitment Board, Ministry of Agriculture, Farmers Welfare of Government of India. Though specialized in plant pathology, Dr. Mai committed himself to the growth of Indian agriculture. He guided several PhD and MSc students, authored books, monographs, published over 200 scientific publications in journals of repute. During his scientific career, Dr. Mai promoted the production technologies of cotton, groundnut, sunflower, and coarse cereals. Application of advanced science and technology to transform agricultural production system is his passion, and he was associated with the first commercial release of insect-resistant cotton in India. He was instrumental in developing biotech infrastructure in ICAR institutions. Dr. Mai has been Dr. Alexander Humboldt Fellow of Germany. He is the recipient of several awards for agriculture development. Thank you, sir, and it's really an honor to have you here. Dr. Sangeeta Ladda, who is the Vice President for Marketing and Business Development for Jain Irrigation, is a MTech Agricultural Engineering from IIT Kharagpur and Doctorate in Agricultural Development. She has been spearheading operations with leading organizations in irrigation and water management. Is currently associated with Jain Irrigation Systems Limited, one of the largest manufacturer of micro irrigation systems globally, as the Vice President for Marketing and Business Development. In a multifaceted career spanning over 3 decades, Dr. Ladda specialized in precision farming, automated irrigation and water management, protected cultivation, greenhouse technology, agri-value chain management, and digital informatics-based agro-advisory services. She also specialized in marketing and business development of micro irrigation systems and in development of horticulture, and in particular for promotion of greenhouse technology in the country. She was formerly director of Indo-Dutch Advanced and Practical Training Centers in high-tech horticulture, namely International Horticulture Innovation and Training Centers, Jaipur, and Horticulture Training Center, Pune, and has been instrumental in backing and execution of innovative projects under USAID and EuroAID. Welcome, Dr. Ladda. We have also Dr. Conrado Balatero, who is a group breeding manager of East West Seed India Global. Dr. Conrado is responsible for the development of East West Seed Group R&D strategic development, management of the crop breeding teams, trait and product pipeline development, R&D resource allocation, R&D facility and infrastructure development, and member of the business development team. His research interests and expertise include plant breeding, genetics, plant pathology, genomics and biotechnology, cell biology, R&D management. In the year 2000, he was awarded the PhD in genetics, minor in plant breeding and plant pathology from the University of Philippines, Los Banos, Philippines. He was previously the Group Research Manager, Pathology and Crop Breeding Manager, Papaya, for R&D Manager for East West Seed Company, Philippines, and Deputy Director for Institute of Plant Breeding, UPLB, Los Banos, Philippines. He has received many prestigious awards, such as Outstanding Scientific Publication Award, Bureau of Agriculture, Outstanding Young Scientist Award, National Academy from National Academy of Science and Technology, and Best PhD Thesis Award, among many others. Thank you, Dr. Conrado, for joining us. Dr. Bhopal Singh Tomar, he's the head and principal scientist, Seed Technology Division of Vegetable Sciences, IARI, based in New Delhi. Hailing from Uttar Pradesh, he has specialized in vegetable breeding and vegetable seed production for more than 3 decades. And he acquired his PhD in horticulture from IARI New Delhi, and he held various prestigious positions with IARI and worked as FAO consultant as Tashkent in Uzbekistan, and also as a coordinator in AARDO Nation Training Program in seed production and quality evaluation. He has authored many publications and scientific papers. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Tomar. Deepak Parekh, who is a CEO and founder of DG Agri, is a well-decorated technopreneur who created one of the most respected agri-tech company, DG Agri Technologies Private Limited. DG Agri uses cutting-edge technologies, including machine learning, blockchain, Internet of Things, for improving profitability and productivity of small and marginal farmers on one hand, and providing valuable insights to the agricultural ecosystem participants on the other. DG Agri is currently engaged in different activities across 7 countries, serving thousands of farmers. Initiatives undertaken by DG Agri under Deepak's leadership have increased the productivity of farmers, reduced their cost of cultivation, and enhanced the quality of input. Dr. Deepak was honored as Technology Pioneer by World Economic Forum and is currently a member of various World Economic Forum communities. Thank you all for joining today. May I request Dr. Siri Mai to please take over the session as a chairman and kindly set the context. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Are you able to hear everybody?
Yes,
hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So thank you once for my introduction and also introduction of our panel today. Let me tell you, it is one of the most excellent panel that is we are discussing a topic which is really very important today. Particularly, you will see that after this COVID-19 situation, what I find, the most beautiful thing available was vegetables. I think that indicates what is the significance of vegetables and fruits there. So I'm particularly very happy that you see in Indian situation, what is best fitted in your smallholder farming is again vegetables, because even a small farmer, say about 1 to 1.5 acres, can earn livelihood of 3 to 5% only on vegetables, and I can quote you several examples of that kind. So that very clearly indicates that this is one area which I think we need to expand. Now the issues are, there are many issues which I think Ram has already explained. The most important is now, are we saturated with seed production programs? Number one. Or we need to have changed the technology from seed to seedling now. That is another very important issue that we must discuss. What is now another disruptive technology that we can introduce is our what we call it as the precision farming. Now in this precision farming, it is very important that vegetables, whatever production today we have, we can double. What these breeders today have done in vegetables is miracle. The way they are now actually having genetic resources available and they have bred the varieties, I would say that it is one of the, I think anywhere in the world, they should be some of the best. Now the issue is, can we find, because more majority of our consumption, almost 90%, is raw. So, and there is another issue, that quality versus quantity. Now we need to really breed for very specific traits also now. That is very important, because now the demand in the world is now changing. So can we now start new breeding programs where we can really think of breeding some very specific quality issues in tomato or in brinjal or anything? And can we also have this kind of a even pharmaceuticals approach towards vegetable breeding? So my point is that this is a big vision for actually our this program of vegetable, and that's why I said that this particular topic which you have organized is really excellent. And thanks for making me sort of chairman for this particular session. And I'm happy that we have now several good people who will talk about different things. And I will start with now some questions to specifically the panelist. I think that should be the what I expect the organizers to speak to me. Am I right?
Sir, you can invite them to say
Yeah,
a few
that's
words
why.
first, and then after that, the questions.
Okay. Can I first? I would like to invite Dr. Sangeeta Ladda. Sangeeta Ladda, my very simple questions, which I thought that you are as a competent speaker can give me information. Your vast experience both working with the private and public sector, what do you think must be done to encourage vegetable farmers? That is number one. The second question, which I thought that because you have a lot of specific initiatives already done in Jain irrigation, so that is being done to encourage vegetable farming. So, what is that experience you can also narrate? And as I indicated in my first speech, can you think of seeds versus seedling now? There are few attempts being made by few companies, I think, who are now supplying even seedlings. So what are those advantages and disadvantages of the system? Can you speak,
Uh,
uh, Dr.
so,
Sangeeta? Yeah.
yeah. In the first place, sir, thank you so much. And Ananda, myself, Mr. Rajan, and entire panelists, I'm privileged to be here. Sir, I'm interested in giving a very short, very quick presentation because I'm wearing two hats today. One is on the irrigation technology, the disruptions in this particular area. And the other one is we are also one of the largest processor of vegetable, that is onion, garlic, tomatoes and all. So especially with respect to agriculture extension, and since we are very managing a very large chunk of farmers, almost to the extent of 10,000 farmers contact farming, and we are the world's largest setup of onion dehydration. So I would give request you for a permission to give me a just 5 minutes presentation quickly, sir.
Okay, quickly go
Okay.
ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm sharing the screen. Can you?
After that, you will take up a few more questions,
Sure,
suppose
sir.
we have. Okay.
I request enabling the screen sharing from the host. The screen sharing has not been enabled.
Ananda,
Screen share.
It's been done. It's been done.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
we did a
okay.
co-host.
Okay,
She's a
thank you so much.
co-host.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Basically, vegetable farming is one of the reasons that today we are one of the largest investor in Israel, the only Indian entity which has the largest investment in Israel. So, what is it? I'm just quickly running through. Basically, we are into irrigation, and water and agriculture are intricately related. Climate crisis is actually water crisis because climate affects the hydrological cycles, rainfall patterns, and therefore leading to water scarcity. And because agriculture consumes a huge amount of water globally, and especially when you look at the Indian scenario, India is completely green, which is agriculture dominant, and India is one of the country which is the largest consumer of water for the agriculture sector. So as we are into water, consumer for water, but at the same time, we are also very largest water stress country. If you see India completely red, a highly water stressed. And if you look at the availability of water, we are into the, we have hardly, world has got only 3% of fresh water. In that 3%, we all again have only 3% of fresh water. So on the freshwater front, we are stressed. And again, a per capita water availability, it is already gone from a water stress to water scarcity. Between 2020 to 2025, we are arriving at a situation wherein water demand shall surpass the availability and the country shall be staring at a water apocalypse. So our per water capita availability is going down. At the same time, the population is increasing, the food demand is increasing. And on the other hand, if you see the average rainfall pattern, we have a very good rainfall. Almost 75% of our country has got more than 800 of rainfall. So with such a good rainfall, the question arises, why are we so water stressed? So the reason is not because of the quantum of water availability, but because of the water management practices, because we need to irrigate the crop, not the land. And that is why I'm representing the organization which was set up on a core concept of more crop per drop, which is again a national manifesto because we call it as a per drop more crop. And this simple statement defines water use efficiency or water productivity, because more crop is a higher output from a lower input, and it also leads to economic value creation efficiency, physical water use efficiency. And drip irrigation has already proven to be a very good in water productivity. We all need to shift our approach, because all these years from the green revolution time, we have been talking only about production, that is in kilograms per hectare. But now the approach has to be completely on water productivity, that is kilograms per cubic meter of water used. So drip irrigation is a very well established. Last 30-40 years we have been using it. It has been established that it leads to increase in yield, saving in water, and increasing water use efficiency. So as you are pumping less water, so energy security. So food security, water security, energy security. Apart from them, doubling of farmers' income, everything is possible with drip irrigation. The disruptions is, this was one of the small mini sprinkler with very low pressure, high coefficient of luminosity, a very gentle, high resistance to windy conditions, a sort of rainfall sprinkler which was bought in by us from Israel with after a large amount of innovations. And this has disrupted the way potato farming is done in the country today. If you look at Banaskantha in Gujarat, it is now the potato county. And if you enter the Banaskantha district, you will see Disha, Gujarat ni Bataka ni Nagri. So this is how the technology has the entire potato farming in this particular district is completely with mini sprinklers. Not only that, after potato, the farmers go in for bajra, cotton, and other things. That is also again with this mini sprinklers. So these sprinklers have bought in 29% high yield, 50% less water. This disruption in technologies is well proven, but most of the time we say that yes, India is a country with small land holdings, especially a vegetable farmer is a very small farmer. In that case also, even if it is a very small farmer of a half acre, one should still go ahead with irrigation systems like this drum kit or small drip kits, which is again a very huge, very good yields. This is one particular farm wherein in Rajasthan, wherein there is no perennial source of water, no electricity. But having rainwater harvesting and having solar pump on that, you can still do farming. So without any perennial source, without any electricity, one can still go ahead with vegetable farming, vertical farming for vegetable herbs and all. This is also something which we have been talking about, urban farming, peri-urban farming. These are some of the disruptions. This is one with the NFT and aeroponics, with a circulatory NFT systems for greens and for for vegetables. The production of quality seedlings is unthinkable without protected cultivation and with controlled climatic conditions, which we are into. It has gone into totally new dimensions with vegetable. So apart from irrigation technologies, there is also on the extension part. So in irrigation also, the basic hardware for going ahead with use of AI and IoT is the irrigation part. Now, how do we have a farm talking to us by use of sensors, by SCADA systems, by soil moisture sensors? It's now time to be less physical and more digital, because with the COVID front, with the labor issues, it is now the smart farming techniques, it is, and the unpredictability in weather conditions, it necessitates that you need to control swiftly the farm operations from a remote location. And it is only possible with these ICT, with based sensors, soil moisture tensiometers, and communication with solenoid valves and controllers. On the other hand, this was a disruptions in irrigation. But when it comes to agri value chain, the technology used in agri value chain, especially when we are into processing and managing almost 11,000 acres, 6,500 farmers spread over eight districts, and all these farms need to be gap certified because vegetable onion powder is being exported. So how do you manage that? This is manageable only and only with technology. You need to have completely AI IoT based, app based farming, a smart farming. So every farmer has an app. We have tied up with TCS, and in this particular, we are connected with all the 6,500 farmers. We can see each and every farm. There's an eye on the ground, eye in the sky, because we are able to visualize the farm in real time basis, and in real time basis giving them the advisory services. So, and ensuring that from the farm till the factory, the entire process is monitored with IoT. So there's a crop audit, crop certification, because gap practices means it, you need to have every farm to be managing all pest disease management and using a particular chemicals only. So this is a smart farming management planning enabled only because of artificial intelligence, because of IoT, because of automation technologies, and you are able to have actually a, you're actually having a complete input algorithm fed into the system, and on farm data, on the crop data, on the inventory, farm management and all, and remotely experts are doing the farm management for the farmer. So in a nutshell, if you look at it, smart farming, it's a data driven, it's intelligent, it is connecting with farmers in real time, and more crop per drop. That is what it is. So in short, I've tried to showcase the disruptions because of interventions. Thank you for this. I'll answer your questions later on, so if there are any. So you are on mute. So kindly unmute.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sangeeta, for a very nice talk. I will come to your questions little at the end.
Sure, sir.
May I now request Dr. Conrado Ballatero to have his talk? Is he here? Yeah.
Yes, I am here, Dr. Mai. Thank you very much. And happy to be one of the panelists in today's webinar. So thanks to Vicky and East West India for co-hosting this webinar series. So let me share my views from a seed company perspective. Technology, of course, we know can disrupt the way we do things and we do conduct business. The Green Revolution actually in the 1960s and 1970s have transformed India from a country with a serious food crisis in the early 1960s to one that has become food self-sufficient. And in fact, India became one of the top exporters of cereals in the world in the 1970s. Again, this is because of disruptive technology. This technology relates to the introduction of high-yielding varieties of wheat with resistance to the rust disease. Recently, of course, which is our topic now or today, another potential disruptive and innovative technology that is taking center stage is precision agriculture. This is an integrated platform that integrates or make use of advances of the digital information technology to make agriculture or horticulture farming more precise. This enables, of course, crop-specific management systems where your resource use, like the application of fertilizers, water, pest, and disease management. And of course, this has been also partly explained by Dr. Sangeeta. Where resource use are tailored actually according to the environment where the crop is grown or according to the crop or specific variety with the intention to maximize productivity. Advances, of course, in computers, high-speed internet, global positioning systems, GIS, remote sensing technologies, artificial intelligence or machine learning, combined with the use of satellites, has enabled the precise capturing of data and various crop informations across the farmlands. And these data are being analyzed real time, and using models or algorithms, precise instruction are being given back to the farmer to maximize their productivity. From a seed company perspective, this precision agriculture will help smallholder farmers either directly or indirectly. We know seed is a major catalyst in the transformation of agriculture in India. So vegetable breeding companies can make use of this precision agriculture by also changing the way we breed. So making it faster, for example, by maximizing the number of crop cycles per year. We call this speed breeding, using climate-controlled greenhouses, which is combined also with the use of IoT devices and technology. And we also make selection process we call phenotyping more high throughput, precise, and making and cost effective. There are some examples that we make use of these new technologies in our company. For example, we just recently developed or used the near-infrared spectrophotometry combined with the use of algorithms to phenotype the ASTA color values in pepper as well as the pungency. And we also recently used digital phenotyping technologies to phenotype various traits of corn. Of course, we see big opportunities to do more customized precision breeding. And by taking advantage of the next generation sequencing technologies, of course, we can combine this with the use of drones and imaging techniques for high throughput phenotyping, the use of IoT devices for managing our greenhouses, or even the growth chambers that we are using to screen for diseases. And the knowledge of the functional genomics will also continuously lead us to development of superior varieties that can adapt to the various agroclimatic conditions in India. Climate change, of course, has brought us, challenges in our food production systems with the resurgence of pests and diseases and abiotic stresses. One, of course, of this is drought or even flooding in some areas. That includes also heat stress and even cold stress. So adoption by the breeding companies like East West and the other companies present in India of these precision technologies means faster time to the market of introducing superior varieties that have the ability, of course, to resist these new pests and diseases and other abiotic stresses. Smallholder farmers, we believe, stand to benefit from the application of these precision breeding technologies in the form of superior varieties and seeds. Of course, knowledge transfer is important in terms of training to help improve the smallholders farmers by maximizing their productivity. By combining the genetics of superior varieties, of course, with the knowledge in precision farming, it is a sure way to maximize, to help our smallholder farmers obtain the highest economic returns. And therefore, this means also better and safer vegetables for our consumers, which will also help support the food security of India. So these are my views, and I'd be happy to answer your questions, Dr. Mayi, later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I think I will come to you when we start with some questions. Now, may I request Mr. Dr. Bhupal Singh Tomar, who is from IRI, is the head of vegetable section. Dr. Tomar, you are around here? Dr. Tomar?
Sir, very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Tomar. Yeah.
Good afternoon to all.
I am able to see you after a long time, Dr. Tomar.
Yeah,
you know me, no?
Really amazing to see when you have to chair the session and to see you in face-to-face, though I have listened you in many programs too. And this is the strength of our system, that we have so much of experienced people who can guide to our program. Sir, first of all, I express my thanks, gratitude to Bhagirath to introduce me with the East West Seed Company and FICCI to share my views on the topic, which is very relevant in a present context, the role of agri-technology in vegetable farming in India today. So, sir, I had some observations on this issue. That first, I would like to mention that because of the diverse climatic condition, India has a lot of potential to produce large number of vegetables, and resulting we are the second largest producer in the world. But my concern here is the productivity, because if we see our neighboring country like China having the productivity of more than 25 tons per hectare as compared to 18 tons per hectare of Indian productivity. So my concern is how we can improve this productivity to make the good progress in vegetable farming, and farmers get more return, as our Honorable Prime Minister has given a slogan, doubling the farm income by 2022. So it is only the horticultural sector which can play an important role enhancing the productivity. And secondly, sir, you will agree with me that in present corona pandemic situation, the vegetable and fruits consumptions has emerged as a number one after the medical medicines, because people have a great trust on the immunity build-up, and to build up the immunity, we have to have a diverse vegetable fruits in daily in our food basket. So India being a diverse country, we have diversity in our vegetable availability, but the availability is again concerned. If we go by statistical calculation, looking into the total production and productive area we had and population 130 million people. So our productivity in calculation is 325, which is higher than the recommended dose of, but practically it is not available to the countryside, to the large number of population. Is still 40% of our people are suffering from the malnutrition. So this is the concern that we have to improve our level of hunger index in the global scene. We have to overcome the problem of malnutrition. We have to increase the income of the farmer, and we have to make farmer more sensible and responsible to the vegetable production so that they can have more income. In this endeavor, I put forward a few points that availability of high quality seed. Though I agree with the presentation, the technological support presented by Sangeeta Lada and Colorado, certainly the high yielding variety and hybrids. So in Indian context, still we need to promote more and more hybrids. In public sector, we are also emphasizing to develop F1 hybrids, but there are certain crops which are neglected for business point of view. We have a large group of cell-pointed crop like garden pea, cowpea, dolichos bean, leafy vegetables, which are main source of nutritional security to our country, like amaranth, palak, methi, and vegetable mustard. Technology-wise, our institute and the division has developed number of high-yielding varieties, like in vegetable mustard, Pusa Sag 1, which can revolutionize the production system as well as the processing potential to the country for export also, because a lot of Indians settled in Europe and elsewhere looking forward their sarson ka saag. So that is one option we had. Another, the cowpea, which is very good source of fiber as well as protein, good quality protein, but we have neglected. But in public sector at IRI, we have developed very high yielding variety, which is the very superior over the popular variety like Kasi Kanchan and other two. So that variety has to reach. But in public sector system, you know, sir, we had limitations other than the NSC. We do not have any very robust mechanism to deliver the good quality seed to the farmer. So that is one important we have to take, whether NSC alone can serve our purpose, or we have to have more partner in the supply chain system so that quality seed could reach to the farmer. Secondly, the leafy vegetable crop, most of the either the private sector or the public sector are serious about the leafy vegetables. This is again a matter of concern which I raise through my presentation and concern, that if we have to overcome the problem of malnutrition, we have to take care of the leafy vegetable like amaranth, palak, methi, vegetable mustard, and other leafy vegetables which are minor and traditional in nature. To fulfill the dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat of Honorable Prime Minister of India, we have to promote our local vegetables for nutritional security, and we have to strengthen. In this direction, my division is working, and we have developed cowpea variety dolichos bean. You know, sir, in central part of the country and eastern part, dolichos bean is one of the source of protein and fiber. And we have developed very good variety, high yielding, rich in beta carotene, and we have a variety in pipeline which are rich in antioxidant. Because nutritional quality has emerged in important, and we are diverting our efforts to develop the lettuce, because in our country we are 150 kg lettuce seed is imported. If we had our own varieties and in lettuce, so we can have to reduce the dependency and we can improve our availability on time. Secondly, we are working on the direction in cauliflower. We are developing cauliflower, green cauliflower efforts is going on. In broccoli, we have purple broccoli, though green and purplish is green is the popular. So we are having a material in pipeline and testing phase. In coming time, we can be material may be identified for the benefit of the farmer as well as consumer. So these are some. Similarly, in onion, as Jain Irrigation is the pioneer in the country, sir, for onion processing. So we have also developed a variety, Pusa Sona, which has been tested across any crop, and it has established 15 to 17% TSS. Though it is not at par to the V12 of Jain Irrigation, which are commercially managed by them. But we are near to them, and near future our efforts in this direction is going on. We will develop the variety or hybrids for high TSS so that we can have our own indigenous efforts and made available to the farmer. And Secondly, that we have another development, sir. Now this consumer is going very specialized demand of the slicing type of onion. We have developed Pusa Sona, which is single large slicing variety, very sweet in taste, which we have developed from the early grano variety, and which can satisfy the demand of higher hotel industry. And we can satisfy demand of different segment. We have variety of red color, which is locally preferred by the local population, very pungent, good storability. So developmental efforts in varietal and hybrids, where sometimes I feel that private sector, like in garden pea, leafy vegetables, cow pea, cluster bean, garden pea, are not so high, because they have concentration on tomato, brinjal, chili, capsicum, beetle gourd, bottle gourd. Another, we have large number of gourds, sir. Sponge gourd, ridge gourd, and gherkin. India had a 1,200 crores of gherkin export. We have developed a variety in our division, which can satisfy the demand of the consumer and can fit the parameters required to be fulfilled for processing. Similarly, we are working on, sir, carrot, black carrot, and the orange carrot, so that the fortification other than the lycopene has been performed, and that has an industrial outlook. And we are in touch with some company in Merino, Hapur, who is doing in potato processing work, developing potato into a starch, and having a 1,000 crores of business of export of the starch alone. So we had a carrot variety Pusa Asita, which can be used for phytochemical industry and coloring industry, for natural color industry. Similarly, Amaranth Pusa Lal Cholai can have a great potential for color extension, color extraction. And paprika KTPL 16, we had some of the example which we have developed for catering the demand of the industry for export. Not for
Tomar will come a little late. May I request you to kindly, because we have another,
which I have flagged.
Yeah, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I will come to you for the questions a little afterwards. May I now have the last speaker of panel is Mr. Deepak Parekh. Deepak Parekh is around?
Right, sir. I'm here, sir. It's a pleasure to again see you within a week time.
Yeah, we are meeting for the second time. Thank you, Deepak.
Right. Yeah, sure, sir. It was a pleasure to be part of this esteemed panel, and we have heard about a lot of things on digital technology. I've been a practitioner of digital technologies for more than 20 years, and I've been working in agriculture for past 4 years across more than 30 countries. I've interacted with farmers, tried to understand their challenges and problems. Coming back home, we are doing a project in Sabarkantha and Banaskantha, where we are working with the farmer holistically. Last year, we worked completely on potato value chain called Smart Potatoes, where from identification of the crop, the genotype, a complete practices, and finally helping them sell the produce. If you see that we talk about India as an agrarian society, but our fruits and vegetable yields, we are 20% below the global average in most of the actually crops. So that's a big challenge. That's a big challenge is the productivity. Second big challenge which small and marginal farmers face today is that post-harvest losses. So something between 25 to 30%, depending on the perishable crop you're talking about. That is the typical losses we are having post-harvest. That's another big area of concern for India. Third area of big concern I've seen with the fruits and vegetable growing farmers is the risk. Now the challenge is that if you see that Madam was talking about Banaskantha, DISA, past 5 years, 3 years farmer made less than what they have invested. 1 year they were at average, and 1 year they made money. Now that's the challenge. There is a risk because of the economy. There is a risk because of the climate change. Now we are seeing that how the weather patterns are evolving, right? Instead of a monsoon for 3 months, you are having actually monsoon for 15 days, because within that 3 months, 15 days, you'll have all the rainfall. There is actually very heavy rainfall, and then there are periods of scant rainfall. So all these things are enhancing the risk of the farmer. Now where the actually digital technologies plays a role. Now we are having definitely hundreds of startups working in Agritech in India. We are also having quite a number of farmers using those technologies. But if we see in past 10 years, since the inception of the smart agriculture concept, none of the projects have scaled more than 500,000 farmers. So the scaling becomes a challenge because there is a cost associated of digitization. Now the $1 million question is that who will build the cat? Who will spend that $16 per year of digitizing the farmer. And that is where actually it's become very, very relevant, because small and minor farmers cannot pay for the fancy technologies of IoTs and the satellite-based resolution of 30 centimeter, which costs really huge amount of money. Now, as a DigiAgri, what we do is that actually we have created our own business model based on where we don't charge the farmer. So we use all these technologies from IoT to satellite-based imagery of high resolution drones. And what we do is that actually we created this platform where the ecosystem players, they also get value out of it. So for example, an input company, for example, is the seed, they would be able to identify where they'll be able to sell their seeds the most, which is the right way of selling a specific seeds to them. So we reduce their cost of extension, we reduce the cost of actually reaching out to the farmer. We work with output companies who aggregate and buy from the farmers. So we reduce their cost of aggregation. We work with development agencies to benchmark their project. So overall, all these people, they pay for typically having those technologies on the ground, and the farmer, end of the day, doesn't pay anything. We have been very successful last season. Actually, we increase the profit. That's what the motto of our company is. We say that more crop per drop, per dollar, per acre, and per farmer. Because just by putting the onus of reduced use of water to the farmer will increase their cost, right? And they are the weakest link. So we cannot force them to use all these things, spend more money, and then we tell you that actually sorry, we'll just give you 3 rupees or 4 rupees per kg of your potato. Right? That's not a viable, fair way of doing it. So we actually try to ensure that there is more money in their pocket, and we were able to increase the profits of farmer by close to 34% in Sabarkantha district, predominantly in potato. We also work in close to 40 different fruits and vegetables globally. We have worked in Vietnam, we have worked in Philippines, Thailand. Now coming to the second part of the challenge, we worked in Nepal where we call F3, fast, fair, and transparent for the farmers. Now the whole idea here is that the crop post-harvest losses, if we minimize that money can be given back to the farmer. Now here you need traceability is very important. Until unless I don't know what the farmer would be harvesting, I won't be able to have the logistic taken care of that. So typically, from a farmland in Chitwan district in Nepal to the shop floor in Kathmandu, we are able to get most of the perishable within 24 hours. That is where actually we are able to predict what the farmer would be harvesting, collecting it from his farm, and creating the geo-traceability there itself. So the crop is tagged there itself, and after that, the complete logistic and the sales, and even the suboptimal food being removed from those shop front happens all digitally. So this is where the traceability technologies can play a very, very vital role. And the third area, when I said about the risk of the farmers, we talk about good seed, but we don't talk about where these good seeds are being sown. Right? In Karnataka, Eastern Karnataka, we are trying to use best seed, but actually in an area which is not even suitable for that crop. So we need to create a national map where actually which genotypes work in which specific taluka level or village level, so that farmer are able to use the right seed in the right environment, right climatic condition, and right type of soil. Then only we'll be able to solve the holistic challenges faced by the farmer. So I would conclude my intervention by saying that we can double the farmer's income for sure, but not when we are having just, I'll say that 2% of our land being cultivated of fruits and vegetables. We having 25% of the total arable land in vegetable, but only producing 10% of the world. These data need to change. Then only the data for the farmers will change. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parak. I think it was very wonderful and very with a lot of experience. Now, basically, the time is for a chairman to really sum up what we have been discussing. Are you all able to hear me now?
Right, sir, loud and clear.
Any difficulty?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, let me thank the organizer that this, I think, they had selected some of the most competent panel today. Actually, I feel sometimes that I also don't know much, but the way they have expressed is something really very good. Friends, one thing is very, I think what Sangeeta told is what the Jain irrigation has been, because I have seen Jain irrigation personally, even when Mr. Bhavarlal Jain was there.
Okay, sir.
I used to be very close to him and I know him, how they had stayed in their guest houses for 2-3 days. Even today, I have a lot of contacts with them. See, one thing what they have is visualized quite in advance. Even in another, I would talk about 25 years ago, they started breeding varieties which were suitable for processing. I think very important aspect. I know they had brought onion. They wanted to have these onion shreds or dehydration of onion. I remember, I think Sangeeta will endorse me. Because of TSS problem, our onions were not suitable for really processing. So then we started thinking, yes, there could be large number of vegetables where if we want to process them, probably the technology needed is right from the breeding process for developing them. And now, over the period of time, Lord, greenhouse technology, vertical technologies, like what the experience they have shown on potato, which they have already see developed for example, for shredding and for making shreds. Then hydroponics technology, aeroponics. These are all technologies which are very suitable basically for vegetable growing. And this will all increase. Certainly, they are going to increase our yield substantially because everybody has pointed out that our yields are actually almost 20% less than what is their average yield of the world. Even with China, we are nearly only half, although we are largest producer. See, it is not the quantity, but probably the per acre, or per hectare yield is a matter of concern. Now, Balatero has very said about what the company's stand is there and how they are now using your breeding. I'm happy that they talked about irrigation, fertilization, disease management, GIS, remote sensing techniques. And the most important part, they insisted that being a very small sort of acreage, I think it is the target should be something like precision farming. And in this precision farming, there are lots of other things. And then, if even for breeding, for suitable technologies for precision, I think that's also very important because you have not only genetics, but you have phenotypic typing is also essential, and you have to have need introduce new varieties quite frequently in the market so that they can come. And this entire process of what we call it as speed breeding is possible with now new technologies. So that is another area which has been focused. I must congratulate Dr. Tomar, who has given a breed perspective. ICAR has been doing vegetable research even before what we have done in
We lost you, sir.
We lost you. We lost Dr. Maye.
then there are other institutes like in Goa is there, have a huge number of varieties developed. That is something which is, I think, our genetic stock is excellent in the vegetable. But what is problem still today? We find that the availability of quality seed and particularly the emphasis is on hybrid. We could develop those hybrids where we have what we have is the pollination which we have. So, for example, we have now self-pollinated crops where we are not able to develop new technologies, particularly for hybrid development in garden peas, then leafy vegetables, cowpea, then lettuce, so many things there are. And what we need is what we call it as in the entire public system, what is needed is the robust mechanism. You see, there is a lot of financial constraints also sometimes, and therefore we have to do. But one thing is that the germplasm or the genotypes conservation, which has been made in almost all vegetables, is quite unique for this country. And I am happy that this is being utilized fairly well, but it should now focus more. I was the other day, we had in Nagpur what we call it as a wild vegetable week, where all the tribals from various areas, what they eat as vegetables, they brought it for sale. It is very interesting because majority of them have what we call it as a the medicinal values, and they have been eating traditionally. We have yet to explore what are those wild vegetables which has been used by tribals for a very long time, and that is also a very big scope which I find. I think Mr. Parekh has excellently said about because of their own experience in Banaskata about how the value chain of potato they have been developed from right from developing of potato culture to the entire marketing and processing. I think this is very important. And the other point which I think he has raised is we must also have what is called as a national map. Very important, because what happens is every vegetable cannot be grown everywhere. That restriction is there because of your climate situation, because of your agroecological system, and that is very important. And therefore, although we have large number of startups and everything, many of them are not able to go forward because of this. Three things which are very important is the yield increase is a must. And now with yield increase, we, as I said earlier in my comment, we must also develop varieties suitable for processing. Our processing is rather weak, and I am sure that this COVID-19 has, or pandemic has actually taught us a very important lesson, that look here, that this sector, which is what we need, is not cold storage material. We need which is the material which is right on the table, and fresh material. There is going to be a demand in future. I am already seeing that the demand for vegetable is going to increase tremendously, and therefore we have to see that our yield increases simultaneously for both the purposes, by eating for raw, and also for making an effort that it should be basically the for the public consumption as well as for processing purpose. The second is, as he said, that India, we are losing almost 25% of our vegetables as post-harvest losses because of a lot of other issues, either transport issues, storage issues, harvesting issues, how they are done. There are absolutely very less technologies developed for harvesting. And that's why, or keeping that, how we can improve upon it. I think I have seen how the vegetable collection is done in European countries or in Japan. Excellent. But here it is all what we have is labor-oriented system, which we need to really replace with a lot of technologies. And now there is a big risk, what we call it as climate change risk, and also risk because of economy. The farmers are. I am still confident that it is, if you say field crop, even in dryland crops, farmers are using or taking up vegetables with the help of irrigation, and that too micro irrigation, they are better off. And that better off is mainly because they are able to really, and the family works on the farm. It is more, family farms are more important in India, and that's how they are able to develop. So I find that there are a lot of scope for digitization, but as we said that it will cost more. Who will pay for that cost? And the poor farmers will. So I think what we need is the government support. This support system is very important for future starts up of agriculture sector, vegetable sector in future. Now the other issue which I have talked about is, can there be new technologies? I was last year there was a big hue and cry. Probably you must have heard that the seedlings of BT brinjal were sold in Haryana, in I think Hisar market, and that gentleman has used that, he without knowing that they are being sort of a banned product, and he used it and he found that they were all resistant to the food borer. So seedlings being sown. So now the seedlings must have been either brought from Bangladesh, where it is the only country where BT brinjal is grown. So seed versus seedling is a now new thinking which is coming up. And now, if we want really quality crop production, can we go from seed to seedling stage? I think this is our concept, which we think that it has a big sort of a big business in going to be in future. Because the requirement of it, although we try to pack very small seed, few grams and all that, but I think the requirement of that is basically the number of seedlings which they can have. And many crops, like you take, for example, tomato, chilies, brinjal, even potato, cabbages, cauliflowers, even radish, and all those, even some of the cucurbits, and really can be, or even spinach, can be transplanted very well. And where there are no transplanting technologies, they can be developed. It is not that. Even cotton was not being transplanted earlier, but there are now cases where transplanted cotton is very common and it is used. And they have seen that the productivity is also going high. So it is not that difficult, the transport, but we'll have to supervise this technology, for some of the vegetable. And say almost 5 lakh, 0.5 million hectare area is under brinjal, 0.5 million hectare area is under tomato. So chilies, 0.5 or maybe a little more, I don't know exactly. But these are few crops where there could be a lot of demand. And then transport would be another additional thing where we can just sell it. So this is where we can really double the farmer's income on there is a potential for that. And that's why I say the vegetable is a perfect field for really improving the quality produce now. And therefore I have seen that uh, for precision farming, for digitization, for improving the genetics, for phenotypics, using this hydroponics, aeroponics, in all such vertical farming. I think I have seen in Singapore how they are doing vertical farming of vegetables. Excellent. So wide scope for a country like India, where we have very large population and still we are the vegetable with only 3% vegetable area, we are able to produce so much. But that is what is I said, that we can increase the area, but we need a lot of investment in vegetable research. I think I would like to conclude that this panel has brought forward some very important issues for us to really think. And I would suggest the organizers to have another webinar, or maybe if COVID-19 pandemic goes, we meet for at least few hours to really plan what could be some of the best strategies that can be adopted, and we can start. But I think this will be possible, and this I am sure that is going to be a sort of a transformational agricultural change, that what we need. With this, I would like to first thank the organizer who has invited me to become chairman, and really thank you. I would like to pass on again back to the convener to really speak on or take up the issue. Can I take up some of those questions now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I request you to kindly ask a few questions to the speakers. Maybe
Yeah.
a question also, so that they also can express their views.
Yeah. Where is the? Yeah. I would like first take it the same sequence. Sangeeta, I asked you a few questions initially,
Yes,
but
sir.
it is better that now they can be. For example, you are with vast experience of both public and private sector. What do you think we must do to encourage vegetable farmers? How do we attract vegetable farmers?
So basically, we have been working with a lot of vegetable farmers of late, in view of as we are into processing of onion and potatoes and all, and also tomato and all. Basically, some vegetable farmers are very small farmers, poor farmers, but they are it's a cash crop, and I think coaxing them to adopt a technology so that the existing the livelihood of a farmer uh, becomes like a doubling of farmers income definitely happen, but take making them take up technology, that is the
Okay.
key challenge and key
Challenge.
intervention required for all the vegetable farmers. And
What's your opinion about seed versus seedling, which I think I raised in your earlier, how the business can really think seed versus seedling business?
so
Will it
actually
be sustainable?
yeah, it is highly sustainable, sir, because we have been doing it. We have been promoting small net houses with trays, and with taking up asking the farmers to take up business of seedlings, and it is very very profitable even in a very small area, as small as hardly 1,000 square meters. Also, a farmer can have a very good living with a protected
Very good.
cultivation, with trays, and with seeds and seedling business, and with macro irrigation.
Thank you very much, because you already showed what initiatives Jane
Yeah,
has already
yeah,
taken
yeah,
really in vegetable farming, and I know
yeah,
them personally also very well.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I would now ask a few questions to Dr. Balatero. Balatero, because what are the innovative approaches now your company would like to follow to help farmers to achieve both quality and productivity?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mayi, for that question. So earlier I mentioned that an important catalyst, of course, in the transformation of India agricultural system is the seed. So one of our company strategy, of course, it has been in the last 35 years working with smallholder farmers, is we want to address the climate change challenges when it comes to resurgence of pests and diseases. So we develop varieties that are resistant or hardy to these new pests and diseases, at the same time to these abiotic stresses, like for example. Now, in addition, of course, to this seed technology, we also try to help our farmers in terms of adapting new technologies. So we have this seed enhancement technology, and one of the technologies we have developed in East West is what we call we call it ProTech, which is actually targeting this new threat of the fall armyworm, which is spreading not just in India but across, globally as well. And then we also we know that because of this climate change, of this resurgence of pests and diseases, there are a lot of challenges in terms of growing crops, which affect also not just the quantity but also the quality. So we have a span-bond technology so that farmers can grow their crops protected from this pest, and some of these pests actually carry some of the virus diseases. So these are just some of the few examples our company is taking steps to improve farmers' activity and quality.
Just another very small question. Do you foresee, because you are already an international company, do you foresee more vegetable demand in the world now because of this? Lot of people are now turning to vegetarian. So, do you expect there will be a change or more demand from India? Because you have both the experience of India and abroad.
Yes, I do agree. I think several speakers have pointed that out also, that there's an increasing demand. I think in the general trend, there is an increasing demand for fresh vegetables consumption, not just in India, but in the rest of the world. And this can be demonstrated, of course, by the way the company is going right now. So from a small handful beginning selling few seeds, now we are selling tons of seeds, not just serving a few thousand farmers, but millions of farmers nationwide. So this demonstrates that there is an increasing demand for fresh vegetables.
Yeah. That is very good. And then, what crops do you feel to prioritize? We should prioritize in India. It is based on the current estimate of area, or there is a demand expansion.
Yeah, in general, actually, if you compare vegetables compared to the traditional cereal crops, for example, rice, normally vegetables can earn 2 to 3 times per unit area. Of course, it's high investment, but the capability to earn in terms of return 2 to 3 times is more than cereal crops. Several vegetables can be recommended. Some of the cucumber, example like bitter gourd, cucumber can be very good considered as cash crops. Of course, in certain seasons, tomato, chilies can also be good crops. Watermelon also, and rich gourd can also be a good source of income for the smallholder farmer.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now I will come to Dr. Tomar. Dr. Tomar, I have a few questions because I think you are representing the public sector and done quite a good amount of work in IRI. See, the first question is, any priorities you are giving in IRI for breeding? Because you have several other institutions, like I said, Varanasi. There is another Bangalore also. I think they are doing work. Even some of the other general institutes of IRI, they are also involved in breeding. Are there any specific priorities that you have fixed up in IRI?
Certainly, sir. IIHR and IIVR both are working in vegetable improvement, but there are certain limitations with them. Like we had our strength, like in cauliflower, we are doing very intensive breeding program on cauliflower, carrot, which are not carried out by the IIVR or IHR because of the climatic disadvantage with them. And we have that advantage, and we are sharing our other centers in carrot, cauliflower, these two crops. especially. And we have initiated the program in lettuce, though the total area is not very high, but the demand of the upper market, we have to see our own development. And the other crop prioritized for certain quality component in brinjal. Brinjal, you know, sir, indigenous crop grown across the country. But now we are concentrating on the development of hybrids with the quality traits. They should carry cupric and freck to improve the nutritional quality. Though people said brinjal is begun, but it is full of nutrient. So we have now established through quantitative estimation and published information that brinjal is a very good for health, and we are incorporating the traits of point of view in the brinjal program. Secondly, the fusarium wilt. It is your area, sir. Fusarium wilt is becoming a serious issue in brinjal cultivation across the country and North India particularly. So we have prioritized that fusarium wilt resistant variety hybrid variety or hybrid development program. Secondly, as I mentioned, garden pea. Garden pea is one of the crop which is for canning and processing other than garden pea beans. So we are now concentrating garden pea to increase window availability window. We are dependent summer production in Himachal Pradesh or high altitude area, and that has brought to the plain and across the country. So we are looking forward in garden pea so that we can facilitate early sowing to address the problem of fusarium wilt, and extend the planting in January so that we can have crop in plain condition in March. So this is one strategy we are working in garden pea. Secondly, our prioritized crop is cowpea, sir. Cowpea is again very important crop because it can be suited for cultivation to summer rainy season, and our priority is to have common mosaic virus resistance. At least there should be no issue of virus, so that yield may not be a loss to the farmer, and we can reduce and we can minimize the number of spray. Similarly, in okra, we have developed one F1 hybrid, sir, and our program is to interrogate the genes from the resistance gene from the alien species, so that we can have problem of ELCB and YVMB, and thereby reduction in the number of spray, so the cost of cultivation could be reduced. These are some of the priority area in which we are working. Other than minerals, rich crop like rich gold, sponge gold, sir, and beetle gold, bottle gold, these are the fruit priority crop, and where we are working. You will be happy to know, sir, we have developed one variety on bitter gourd Pusa Rasdar, which is very much suitable for protected cultivation. Because bitter gourd is generally diabetic people have a perception if consumption of bitter gourd is regular basis, they can manage their sugar level. And when we grow in open, the major challenge is viruses and fruit fly and frequent spray of the pesticides, sir. To minimize the pesticide and reduce the fruit fly infestation, we have bred a variety Pusa Rasdar, which can be grown under protected condition in summer season, rainy season, and up to middle of December. So fresh availability, safe produce of bitter gourd can be ensured to the consumer. This is one priority in bitter gourd, sir. And we have, you know, this area under low tunnel in Rajasthan and Bhatinda and Punjab is increasing like anything, sir. Around 5,000 acre area in low tunnel cultivation in summer squares. We have one baby pumpkin type variety, Pusa Sriyas, we have developed, which can own 4-5 fruit per bush, and it is so can give up to 8 kg fruit. It is very tender and rich in beta carotene. So that one way we are looking at how we can address the problem malnutrition through vegetable consumption. As you have mentioned, sir, in your remark that the consumption of the vegetable globally bound to increase because of the immunity has emerged very important issue in the social health, and consumption has increased, and we are receiving a lot of queries from the different part of the society that how we can start their own business in vegetable crop and how we can increase organic vegetable. This is another area emerging, sir, organic area. We have initiated 5 years back. Now we are 6th year of the plot, which we are evaluating number of varieties, whether we can grow successfully in which season, which crop, which variety we are trying to evaluate. But we are not scientifically validating. But now the time has come when Prime Minister has given again a call. We have to lift the soil health, environment degradation we have to stop. So we have to go for organic cultivation in coming time, sir. So these are some of the priority in IRI, which are different from IHR and IIVR. And we are rigorously working in this direction so that the farmer will be benefited from the public spending. And we should not take any efforts to realize that farmer really have dependence on public sector. And we want to increase our role in society building activities. Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Somar. I think I have a very small, brief question. You talked about fortification, nutrition, security is in vegetables already is engraved. But now you say that there are some programs which you have fortification, like your black carrot. You have already mentioned a few of them. What is the state? Can they be commercialized on a larger scale?
Yes, sir. When the people have realized this beneficial effect of this different antioxidant, now you see in every newspaper having one column about the vegetable, which they take one by one fruit and vegetable rich in antioxidant, rich in micronutrients, which can only be supplied through the plant sources. And that way the biofortification is very important for vegetable. And I would like to mention, sir, a poverty elevation program, malnutrition address program. Pumpkin is one of the important crop. We are looking the beta carotene rich pumpkin, so that the problem of post harvest losses can be minimized at household level. A small and poor family can afford the consumption of pumpkin if it is beta carotene rich. Though we have lot of traditional approach of consuming, like I would like to mention the kanji making in the February and March in North India, sir, is one of the practice to enrich, because when season change, people have an understanding and knowledge of the seasonability change in the health. So they used to have consume the kanji of black carrot. And some industry has also shown interest in this direction. As I mentioned, in vegetable mustard, some people have in Punjab and Mumbai, they have started cultivation, packaging of the mustard and exporting. So similarly, the other crop, brinjal, I mentioned, in tomato, we are emphasizing and working to put leaf curl virus resistance with the high level of lycopene content and good product recovery and viscosity in the product, so that we can have our popular variety to be converted into the leaf curl virus resistance background, so that we can take advantage of their understanding. Sir, you will agree that Pusa Ruby, it is 70-year-old variety, but still it is popular. I don't know what reason it attracts to the industry and the export. Many people, when I come to know this fact that even 60 to 70 quintals of Pusa Ruby seed is sold by NSE alone. And there are certain other company, Durga Seeds, I know in Chandigarh, 20 quintals they are producing and they are exporting. So I come to know where you are exporting. Then I come to know that there's some Southeastern Asian country and some African country. Our variety still is demand because of the acidity available and juicy nature of the variety. So if such variety we are having in our program to be transfer the resistance gene of PY3 in of ruby, so that we can give the advantage to the farmers.
Thank you, farmers. Thank you, Dr. Tomar. I think it was quite interesting when you talked about export. I remembered my days with vegetable people. See, you know, Parbhani Kranti Bindi was developed by Parbhani, my agriculture university, and the yellow mosaic resistance was actually introduced by me. And the variety was developed by my colleague Dr. Nerkar, who is a known breeder. See, the entire seed, yeah, Y.S. Nerkar. Actually, the entire seed which is produced in Jalna was taken in trucks to Pakistan. We were not knowing this, but this is how the variety spread. And I am happy that I think this approach, if we can really do well, it will be very useful. Thank you very much, Dr. Tomar. I think my last panelist, Dr. Parekh, I have only one question, Dr. Parekh, because you said that this is cost involved in digitization is really matter of concern. Who should pay for that? But what is the actual reality? Can this be done under our situation, Indian situation?
If you ask me frankly, like, we have seen a lot of projects in India, right, being talked about for 3 years, and finally RFQs coming, and then again, like, going in the cold storage, right? So that's is one part where, I believe, unfortunately, digitization seems to be something which is not on the top priority. While we talk a lot about it, but when it comes to spending money on that, that's a challenge. I'll just give an example of a company called OneSoil. It is based out of Belarus, right? And you'll be surprised they have digitized 80% of the world using like satellite-based technologies.
Very good.
And now they will be selling solution to us, right? So we'll be paying for our own data which they have captured. Right. So sometimes, you have to be ahead of the curve. So unfortunately, like most of the things in tech, right, we end up being just the service providers because we generally are not able to be on the curve when actually there is a risk. So that's what the challenge is. Second thing is that the whole approach of talking about bing bang digitization, right? Let's digitize 50 million farmers. We know that that's in case there is a challenge, then actually the whole cost goes to for a toss. I believe the government should be talking about doing 10,000 small pilots, right? So when we are having say 1,000 of companies which are in Agritech, why can't we can work each company working on 3, 4, 5 small pilot, right? Which might cost 10 lakh, 15 lakh, 20 lakh rupees for the government, because these companies, they are looking for just on ground cost. Third challenge which I believe is that the failure and the breakage of the extension services in India. Right. If you see the new recruitment and the numbers, they have not increased for past decades, right? And what the numbers we used to have 10 years back, we still have those numbers. In fact, they would have reduced. So until and unless the extension service people are on ground, we have our own challenges because everything technology cannot do, right? A field might look like a beautiful rice field from a pixel map in a satellite. While you go on ground, you'll find there are just weeds, only with high vegetative index. So those challenges can only be solved when you have some foot on ground, and that is the cost. So I believe this is a $1 million question, and I believe still not answered. We are trying our level best to answer it by trying to create where we don't charge farmers, and at the same time give them all the valuable digital capabilities from IoTs to the satellite-based imagery. But again, I'm saying that it's just evolving, and let's see how the things goes forward.
Thank you, Deep. Very nice. You have already explained so many things, and I think we have come to the end of this panel discussion.
Yes, sir.
I would like to just because I have my colleague Bhagirath. Can he speak for a minute? What is there? He has anything which is probably he has heard everything. Bhagirath is around here.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Bhagirath, only 2 minutes, so because we should be in time. Because I know you are fond of speaking a lot.
No.
So,
I'm not going to take much time, sir. Maybe a minute or so. So I really want to thank Ananda for reaching out to us and Dr. Mai, sir. We are thrilled to be a part of this program. I have been part of APIDA's. There's a committee of fresh fruit and vegetables, and for last 1 year, actually, we have been really pushing hard to create, vegetable exports hub in different part of the country. We have been quite successful in creating some of the hub in rural areas, like far away from metro cities. Even the cities like Varanasi now are exporting fresh fruit and vegetables to different part of the country. And, this particular program of exporting fresh fruit vegetable is increasing quite a bit. There's a lot of demand also being generated. So I'm really excited that government is very keen to push the whole agri-export from the country, and fresh fruit and vegetable has been on the top priority of the government at this point of time. Only thing is that, the concept of aggregation and uniformity of material, because most of the farmers are growing different kind of varieties, different varieties with different shape, size, color, and all that. So that's where we are facing a lot of problems. So I think creating these clusters with certain varieties that has huge market opportunities. For example, banana, we grow so many kind of banana in the country, but, world market actually need only like G9 banana, which we are not growing at the scale that we must be growing. So I think fruit and vegetable is a very big opportunity. And through this today's webinar, as Dr. Tomar has clearly identified some of the priorities for the farmers. So I think we will take a step forward, and I think you must come out with the proceeding of the this particular webinar, so that the whole concept of technology in vegetable cultivation, what Sangeeta madam has highlighted, can also be part of the whole breeding activities that is being narrated by Tomar sir. So I strongly believe vegan agenda is the big agenda for the world, and we must grab that opportunity. That's the point I want to share with you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I, first of all, on my behalf, I would like to thank Ananda for really organizing one of the, in a very short span of time. Actually, it was one of the best probably performance that we have in terms of discussion on these issues. And there may be many more questions, but I thought that probably we should restrict as because they have
Yes.
told about the timing, so it is better. So I would now call upon Ananda to really conclude. On my side, I am now through. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Just that we have a few questions from our viewers, and we have posted some of these questions in the chat box, sir. So we still have another 10 minutes. So I request the speakers to choose a question each and answer them, please. Maybe we can start in the same order with, or we can start with the reverse order, maybe. Where Deepak can speak, Mr. Deepak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is able to see the questions there in chat box?
I'm just looking at that. Yes, so let me pick this question. Actually, this is by Mr. Akhilesh. He says that farmer outreach burn cash for company like Seed. Today, India offers cheapest 1 GB data in the world, but mobile connectivity is still poor in rural areas. How Agritech will help here? Where are the new schemes for sustainable vegetable cultivation and marketing in India? How to utilize Agritech and large machines in India, a country which has smallholder farmers as majority? What are the steps one should take for this? What is the scalability and future of tie-up between seed companies and e-commerce agribusiness?
Maybe pick up one.
These are like the questions that were asked by the audience. I just compiled that and put it across over here.
Yeah.
Not from me, it's from the audience as such.
Okay. Okay. So let me talk about this just the part where we say that smallholder farmers and how smallholder farmers can utilize Agritech when actually a lot of consolidation is required. So see, actually the beauty of India is that actually we are having smallholder farmers. Believe me, going forward in the world actually, and I've been dealing with farmers across the globe from Africa to all the way to Southeast Asia to America. The challenge is that the industrialized way of agriculture, unfortunately, is now being seen not very positively because it is not very, very sustainable. Local varieties are of very, very big use. Now, the challenge is that the aggregation doesn't work because we don't have what farmer is doing, where he's doing, and what sort of type of crop he'll be cultivating. Now, once you have digitization, where actually you are able to identify type of the variety, genotype the farmer is growing, then actually there is a good possibility in companies like NinjaCart and ourselves, we are already doing it where you can create a very good model of aggregation. Now, when you are able to aggregate because you are able to predict what farmers would be going and you'll be also having demand what needs are there, then you'll be able to map it very beautifully. So from just like I'm saying that the data-driven agriculture, we'll have to move towards demand-driven agriculture using the data as a fact. Now, this is where I strongly believe that the mobile phones are very, very critical because mobile phones are nothing but actually the whole world in your hand, right? A farmer can just click a photograph and tell I am cultivating here at this geolocation, and then the rest of the system can take care of it and identifying where these farmers are, creating a beautiful logistic map, and then to collect from the ground. Second thing, the image-based technology can also help in identifying the quality itself from there. Not all the crops can be done, but a substantial number of crop can be just a photograph. You can find out what type of quality of the crop would be. So all those things makes the life would be very interesting going forward for the small and margin farmers. Because I strongly believe that that is what the strength is. That we'll be having far too many people trying to grow a specific type of crop, specific type of variety. And one of the great examples is what's happening in dragon fruit, right? Dragon fruit was not our crop, right? We are actually exporting dragon fruit. So those small interventions, I believe, value chain driven approach, aggregation, and using digitization to identifying, because that's very critical. And the gentleman from Epida was also talking about traceability, right? If I'm sitting in UAE, believe me, I want to have the QR code where I can scan and find out when my food was harvested. And all those things are possible using technology. And that is, I believe, where is the smallholder would benefit from it.
Thank you. Can I ask Dr. Sangeeta to pick a question then?
Actually, one of the question is for the small and marginal farmers. I've actually shown it in my slide also. Even if it is a very small farm of half a acre or even 1 hectare, just with 10,000 rupees, a farmer can afford to have an irrigation system. And that is what actually really makes a very big difference, because hardware is a first thing, the first step in precision farming. So,
very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So much. Can I
Any
request?
other?
Yeah, Dr. Balatero, would you like to pick a question?
Yes, thanks, Ananda. There's one question from the viewer. What is the commitment of East West Seeds towards sustainable agriculture? So when you talk about sustainable agriculture, there's some people raising concern about excess use of chemical pesticides, right? So one of our company's motto or mantra is to develop varieties that are resistant to insect pests and diseases, so that farmers will be spraying less, and therefore you have vegetables that are safer to eat and to our consumers. Now, the resurgence of pests also, like I just mentioned earlier, the fall armyworm in the case of corn. So
Maize, yeah.
spraying chemical pesticides which are not really directed towards the fall armyworm, we came up with this technology, what we call the Protect. You know, it's making use of a seed enhancement technology. Very few quantity of the insecticide is being integrated into the seed so that it gives an early protection against the fall armyworm. Now, water also, of course, is another concern, right? So if we can develop varieties that are tolerant to the drought conditions, so that varieties can require less water, yet very productive, so that will be, you know, very good for our smallholder farmers. Now, there are also certain microbia within the soil, and we just actually ink just very recently, and we'll be submitting project proposal in partnership with Utrecht University and Wageningen University in Holland, but that will be also involving India. So we are committed to participate in the work package too, that is testing all this beneficial microbia that will be integrated, that can be also integrated to seeds that will have benefits to boost plants' immune system, as well as the ability to, you know, convert, for example, the nitrogen in the air and much more support them. But of course, this is part of a development. So these are just few examples of our commitment to sustainable agriculture from the seed company perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one last question for Dr. Tomar. Maybe briefly, if you can also pick a question, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I would like to Ram Kondaniaji, who has raised the question, where are the vegetables cultivations, their mechanization is required to a high priority. In my mind, we have successful expression in potato, where most of the operation have been mechanized. Second crop is onion and garlic. These two crop has to be prioritized for planting and harvesting. Though efforts have been on, but we have a faster approach to develop the mechanization. These two crops to bring out the cost of cultivation in transplanting and harvesting. Third crop can be the root crop, though there are good success has started, and is an answer of the some question that is small and marginal farmer cannot access the big machine. There is a one pneumatic drill introduced around 2000 by one army retired person in Sikandrabad. Now is using in custom hiring uh, basis. This is one aspect that is small and marginal farmer cannot afford the costly 5 lakh 6 lakhs machine, but custom hiring service is the way to move forward, and it has really impacted on carrot cultivation and reduce 3 to 4 kg per acre we suggest. Now it around 750 grams seed, but on the same time the seed quality has to be very high in precision planting. So pneumatic seed drill planting, sowing with high level definition is the matter of city. So these are the priority crops. Secondly, the organic vegetable for masses can be made affordable. We have to go on a selective basis. We have to go on season basis. We should have to change our consumption mind, that we should not take cauliflower in off season. We should not take cauliflower in off season. We should take cauliflower and cabbage season. If we will go out of the season, then question of masses will be there. A leafy vegetable, successfully we can do organic vegetable production, whether it is mustard, palak, coriander, methi, fenugreek, and so on. So there are a lot of potential to do organic vegetable production in our country. So thank you. These are some of the views on the questions raised by the viewers.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And I take this opportunity to thank you all, the distinguished panel that we have today, on behalf of FICCI and East West Seed India and East West Seed Global. Thank you very much for being here with us. Special thanks to Dr. Siri Mai, who has honored us with his presence as the chairman for this session, and also Dr. Bolatero, who has joined us from Philippines all the way, and Dr. Tomar, who has spent a lot of valuable time of yours, and Dr. Ladda, who has also joined us from Delhi also, Mr. Deepak Parekh. Thank you very much for all of you. And special thanks to Dr. Bhagirath and to Mr. Ram Kaundinya for gracing the session today. Thank you very much, and our deep gratitude to all the viewers who have been participating very actively with lots of questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ananda. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thomas
very
sir,
much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, my sir.